Yo, what's going on guys, your boy Max here and welcome back to another video. Now in this video we'll be going through how you guys can become a more consistent players in Fortnite. And as a lot of people say, consistency is something that does really separate you from the average players, and it's something that will put you above everybody else and make you stand out from the competition, whether it be in just normal solos or whether you're planning to take tournaments seriously. Consistency will be something that is just key. And without any further ado, let's pretty much get into the tips that I've prepared for today's video. So first and foremost, to be consistent, you need to be playing Fortnite on a regular basis. Now, not every day, that is. First of all, I just want to say that by no stretch of the imagination should you be playing Fortnite every single day if you don't have the time or if you just don't want to play the game. But you should maybe at least be putting a few hours into the game every single week, just to be able to keep up with everybody else who does play this game, because a lot of people treat this game very seriously, and they play it for numerous hours a day. And so you should be able to at least put in a few hours into this game if you want to keep up with those guys and still be consistent in winning your fights and winning your games. And another thing that you want to be able to do to stay consistent is doing warm-ups when you actually get on Fortnite. Because without a warm-up, when you do come online, you will be super rusty, and that's just something that you don't want to happen, because you know you could be performing better if you do a simple warm-up that will only last like 20 to 30 minutes. And yes, a lot of people fall victim to the fact that, you know, maybe I'll get away without doing the warm up because warm ups are sometimes super boring. But the thing is, if you grab a friend online and just 1v1 for a little while, it's not all that bad, guys. Trust me. Just make yourself jump into the game and just do the 1v1 in creative that will get you ready for the next couple of games that you're gonna play, because in the long run it's just super beneficial and it will take you much less time to actually get used to the mechanics and the game itself. Um, so yeah, that's something that you should definitely be doing. Warm-ups are just super important. Anyways, the next thing we're going to be talking about is working on your game sense, and this is important in every single game, not just Fortnite. And what your game sense is basically, you know, your ability to make smart rotations, smart plays, and just outsmart your opponent. And this basically means that you always will have a game plan. You know, your game sense pretty much relates to rotations, engagements. Those are some of the key things that I can just name from the top of my head right now. But there's a bunch of other stuff involved in game sense, and you're going to be able to develop that game sense by just playing a ton of solos and a ton of Fortnite in general. Not creative Fortnite, that is, just you know, scrims and actual games where you will be able to practice your rotations properly instead of creative, which is mainly only used for mechanics. And that's why a lot of people who grind creative for so long aren't so good in game, because they just don't have the game sense for it. You know, they'll rush into a fight and they won't make the smartest plays, make irrational decisions, and boom, there you go. That's why your average player who has elite game sense will be anybody who has elite mechanics but no game sense at all. Game sense just always comes above mechanics for me, and that's something that you should be thinking about improving and working on. Next, let's talk about keeping up with the meta and just the general strategy of the game. So, for example, recently traps have been vaulted from Fortnite, and I'm sure that they may actually come back into the game soon, depending on when you're watching this. But at the moment, traps are not in Fortnite, and so let me just use this example for this video. So to sort of keep up with the meta of the traps being removed, people have now started to take more 50-50s and jumping into people's boxes, and that would not be the case before, because, you know, if your opponent had a trap, you'd pretty much be dead. However, now, because the traps have been removed, people know that they can get away with just jumping into people's boxes, and if their box fighting skills are really good, then they'll be able to win most of their fights. And that's just something that you should be implementing into your game. You see, games like Fortnite that are constantly being updated require you to be able to keep up with the general sort of strategy that is within the game, even with a lot of minor things such as I've just said, traps being removed may seem like a small little change to some of you, but it completely flipped the game upside down, and the strategy has changed drastically. And that's why it's just super important to keep up with the meta, and it's always very, very important to know what updates are coming into the game, so do make sure that you know what is going on and just try adjust to those changes and see how it goes. The next thing we're going to be talking about is limiting your RNG to become more consistent. So say for example you may be landing at different locations in different games, especially in tournaments. You should not be doing that. You should pick one or two spots that you're super comfortable with landing at, and make the best loot routes around the place, and that will pretty much get rid of some of that RNG slash luck aspect within the game. And you'll also be able to get a massive advantage over the other people that land there, because you'll know the place inside out, you'll know where people usually land and what places are best. So say for example you land at the building that has the most chests, and so you have a better chance of eliminating the opponent that didn't land there, and with time you'll basically just get used to what people do at your drop location and how many people usually drop there, and that will basically help you become super consistent by helping minimize the stuff that actually involves luck within this game. But the final tip we're going to be talking about today is having a game plan. So to be a consistent player in, say for example, tournaments, you've got to know the format of the tournament very well. Say you're playing in a 10 game cash cup, you probably want to take 6 or 7 of those games and play them out to the end game, and then when you have time, when you're actually running out of time, sorry, and you still have games on your hands, that's when you want to be going for the W key games, and that's what I mean by a game plan. You should be able to adjust your playstyle if you need to do that, because sometimes your strategy may not be working, but even though that may be happening, I still suggest you stick by it until the end of the tournament and see how it works out, because you never really know whether the strategy is going to work until you play out your whole 10 games. And same thing goes for solos or just normal Fortnite, as in pubs and stuff like that. If you keep dying because you're playing too aggressive, then maybe change up your playstyle a little bit, play a bit more passive, and don't rush into every fight. And that should definitely help you become more consistent, because if your playstyle is consistent with how aggressive you're playing, say for example, then you'll be getting similar results across different games. And with that being said, the video does come to an end, and make sure to leave a like on the video if you have enjoyed or if the video has helped you, and make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on to never miss another upload from me ever again. And also, if you do want to support the channel, make sure to use the code MaxGamer7 in the Fortnite item store before you make a purchase. And that is it from me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.